Hey everyone, I thought I would do a podcast on hydration, kind of my approach to it, because I think it can vary depending on kind of your needs and circumstances and stuff like that. I think it can help with overall health and recovery. I think some people, especially there's some drink mixes and stuff like electrolyte mixes and even sports drinks, which I think are kind of overpriced and overhyped and really not that good for you. Starting off though, the best thing you can do is find good quality water. You want to find, either spring water. If you can't do that, then distilled, and if not that, then good, like filtered water. So it takes out all the stuff, the plastics, the microplastics, the chemicals, the toxins, the PFAS and the heavy metals and stuff like that. You really don't want to be drinking that. And if possible, not drink out of stuff that's plastic as well too, so you get more plastic in you. I typically don't just drink water plain. I typically add, one of the things I add to it is salt, and you want to start off with kind of a good quality salt, a good quality sea salt, Himalayan salt, Celtic sea salt. There's this one I just recently heard of when I was kind of doing research for this episode, was Baja Gold. You want to get sea salt and a good quality, like organic sea salt if possible, because it will have not only sodium chloride, but it'll also have a bunch of other minerals as well too. One thing that is similar to it, which I haven't really tried much, but I know some people that have found some benefit to it, is using it's called marine plasma hypertonic, but there's also isotonic, and it's basically it tastes basically like seawater. It tastes like salty seawater, although it's not just plain seawater. And some people have done research and stuff like that, and they've found that people have benefited it because the marine plasma, which is produced by, actually, it's not. I thought at first it was plankton. It was just you're eating plankton, but it's produced by zooplankton when they consume phytoplankton. And I'm not a marine biologist, but I assume they're the small ones eating the even smaller ones. And it's similar to what your body has in your blood plasma. And isotonic marine plasma can engage the parasympathetic and help with anxiety and stress and stuff like that. Most people, especially if they're dealing with chronic illness, they're sympathetic dominant, and that's engaged a lot more. The other thing is, if possible, I don't think it's really super necessary, but to drink alkaline water. I do think there are some benefits to it. It's not absolutely necessary. I think a lot of the stuff like alkaline water is kind of overhyped, along with Kangen water. I believe it's alkaline and there's some other properties, but to be honest, it's not always the best quality water, which is kind of what you want, like, I think the most important part. And yeah, what else? The other things you can do to kind of hydrate your body is, like, bone broth can be hydrating. That is if you're open to having it. Coconut water can also be it has a good ratio of kind of minerals and stuff like that. I think some sports drinks are okay. I don't really think they're the best. If you can find one that has maybe like some sea salt and coconut water, and it doesn't have like dyes and like cyanocobalamin and a bunch of other shit in it that's really not good for you. But I really haven't found one that's really that good for people, I think. But typically, you can also add, I think, more so for flavor, but you can also add it for nutritional value as well too, is baking soda. That's alkalizing. It can also help kind of lower inflammation and stuff like that. Vinegar, if you can, apple cider vinegar is better. That will not only has a bunch of benefits, it actually is alkalizing, I believe, even though it is acidic. It will help increase the stomach acid, and it will also help increase your digestive enzymes, because bitter foods and liquids stimulate your digestive enzymes and stuff like that, and along with your stomach acid. You can also do lime and lemon juice as well too. I think that basically kind of does the same thing. But yeah, let me see. I think that's really about it. All I have to say about kind of hydration. You want to start off with kind of good quality water and then add stuff to it. Oh yeah, also I typically add magnesium and potassium to it. I think magnesium is important, probably more important than potassium. Magnesium can be really helpful for a number of health conditions. A lot of people are deficient in it. It can help with, fatigue, but also muscular pain and tension and stuff like that. Magnesium chloride is typically the best option because it's the most cheapest one, and you can just I typically add a teaspoon or two and have that throughout the day. There are other forms of magnesium that will benefit different parts of your body and stuff like that. Magnesium L-threonate, I believe that's what it's called. How you pronounce it, at least, is good for brain health. It's the only one that I think that has been studied to show across the blood-brain barrier. Magnesium sulfate is typically not the best to be ingested unless you're doing some kind of liver or gallbladder flush. It's better to be either taken possibly as a suppository, taken when you're doing a coffee enema, or doing like an Epsom salt bath. And then you can also get not only a lot of sulfur, but you can also get magnesium that way too. Magnesium oxide, along with anything oxide, is typically not good. Your body really won't absorb it well. It's typically the cheapest, and it won't really benefit you much. Potassium, I also typically add about a teaspoon as well too. The other thing you can also kind of do is if you do juicing, like I typically don't just juice like one vegetable or fruit, and I typically do kind of lower carb ones. Like I do like a mix of, if available, I do use some fruits, but it's like maybe a mix of like some watermelon, which does tend to be higher carb, berries, cucumber, celery, ginger, mint, let me see, I said celery, maybe sometimes cilantro and stuff like that, and kind of a few others, but those are typically, I think, the better ones to kind of juice with and kind of ingest, and that will actually help hydrate you a lot as well too. I've noticed, because I do donate plasma regularly, and they do kind of monitor, you can kind of tell like how hydrated you are by the simple kind of blood tests they run and stuff, and I have noticed from that. But yeah, I do think proper hydration can help with, recovery from especially chronic illness. It can help with exercise and stuff like that, and it can help in a bunch of other areas. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. If you have any questions or comments, if you need help with your health, feel free my Gmail is just the name of the podcast at gmail.com. And feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment, rate, especially on all the platforms I'm on, especially too. It really helps me out. And I always have affiliate offers, but don't feel obligated to buy. It does help if you do go through my affiliate links and buy stuff. It does help me out though.